All right, everybody. Everybody? Where is everybody? Everybody's not here. Wow. So that means we won't have any hard questions, is that right? I don't know. All right. Well, welcome to summer. Welcome to the May open member meeting. We have some really interesting, fun, impactful things to talk about today. We have a whole cast of characters who are going to take you through a variety of topics, but let me take you through the agenda, maybe. What's happening, I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview of what's happened on the board since we were together, what, in February? John Schultz is going to give you some updates on projects and kind of how he's working on working with the employees and working on all the projects that we have on the table. What's North Star? Does anybody know what North Star is? Yeah. Okay, good. That's good. That was the answer I was looking for. So Jared, he's making his premiere here as a speaker at the club, so we have to be really nice to him and say friendly things and smiles and all that stuff. But he's going to give us a really great preview of North Star, what the employees have been working on. We're all going to download the app if you haven't downloaded the app already. How many people have downloaded the app? Oh, good. Overachievers. This is great. It's going to be really easy. Tom Johnson's going to talk about the master plan. I think many of you know that there's going to be an open house June 11th and 12th to share the master plan with you or what we have proposed. Our goal is to get your feedback. And I think we're trying to get the master plan approved by the end of summer, Tom? Is that roughly August? Okay. And then we'll have time for Q&A. All right, how's that sound? Good, pretty easy? All right, cool. All right, so I'm going to take you back to what we created in the strategic plan that we presented in February of 2024. One of the big takeaways from the strategic plan was every decision that we make, whether it's North Star, the master plan, anything that we do, we really have to consider balancing the experience that a member has and what it costs to provide that experience. So everything is a bit of a balance. The hard part, and I mentioned this before, is we've got a lot of different members with a lot of different preferences. So it really is a more difficult equation to try to balance, but really that is our goal in all the decisions that we make. So what's happening? End of March this year, we took our board retreat. We did stay at a Holiday Inn Express. We were so much smarter after we stayed there for that evening. We visited the Landings. How many people are familiar with the Landings? Bigger operation, 6 golf courses, 5 golf courses, lots of restaurant venues. It was really great to see that operation. Some things that they do are similar to what we do, and we learned some things as we went and visited all their amenities. Ford Field and River. Has anybody ever been there? One person. Great, Lindsay. It is Henry Ford's Southern Vacation Home. I can't remember the year that he created or he built it, but the tractor there was one of the original tractors. And John Schultz is walking down a secret passageway from the main house to Henry Ford's man cave. So it was really fun to kind of visit those two operations. But the most important thing was, as a board, we got together and thought about what does 2025 look like? What are the committee goals? What are the board goals? We had Ray Cronin come in, who was the founder of Club Benchmarking. He shared some statistics about other clubs and what they do. Talked about key performance indicators that we can potentially use to see how we're progressing. So it was a very, very productive couple of days. What I thought I would share with you is the goals that the board came up with for 2025. I don't think any of this is going to be a big surprise, especially based on what we're talking about today. But the North Star technology upgrade, what is your guess to the age of our current Jonas system? How old? 30. Not quite that old. Close. 25. I think it's 20 years. Is that right? 20 years old? About 20 years? How many people in here have a phone that's 20 years old? Maybe there's one. Fred Finke has one that's 20 years old. I don't use it, but I just have it. We can't afford to run a $30 million business with technology that is that old. One member asked a question in our Java with John. Where's John? He's right there. Like, why in the world would you do a go-live date as June 1st? Right? That's crazy talk, right? People are shaking their heads. Well, a couple reasons. We could have gone live in April. We could have gone live in May. One of the reasons that we waited was SAPOA had a chance to look at our North Star technology and figure out if there was a piece of the technology that they could use. So one of the reasons that we postponed till June was to make sure that we could incorporate, and you'll hear this theme, how do we collaborate with SAPOA and the town? So it gave us a little bit more time to get them on board. We need this. You know, June 1st, what does June 1st represent? Besides my nephew Chase's birthday. Hurricanes. Good job, John. Hurricane season, right? So our server lives in a closet in the Island House. During one of the big storms we had last year, Chad and his crew took the server up to the real estate office to keep it safe. I mean, that's just like crazy talk. So obviously I'm overselling the North Star technology, but there's lots of real reasons that this is the time we need to really upgrade. The Island Master Plan, Tom Johnson's going to talk a little bit about this. Both North Star, or technology, as well as the Island Master Plan, were two of the outputs of our strategic plan that we talked about in February of 2024. What I'm trying to share here is there's consistency to our plan, which is really important. If we have a strategic plan, we have to show members that we're actually doing things that the strategic plan suggested we should do. Elections and bylaw review. I know it's really a fun part of being on the board to kind of look about elections and bylaw review. We struggle every year to get a quorum, and we shouldn't struggle to get a quorum. We need to get people interested in running for the board, nominating committee, so we're working on some things to make sure that we're doing as much outreach as we possibly can to get more people interested. Committee updates. I have tortured the committee chairs. I've told them that they have to produce a 2-minute video sharing the goals of their committee, so whether it's House, Golf and Greens, et cetera. They actually have to now learn how to use a teleprompter, which would be really kind of fun. But I do think it's important for members to understand what committees are suggesting as their plans for the year, so that in February of 2026, you can test us and hold us accountable for what we said we do. Now, it's not just the committee chair. I mean, many of you are on committees as well. So, you know, what is important to each committee, and it's really important in my way of thinking for the chairs to actually communicate what those goals are. Shared services. I mean, North Star, the Island Master Plan, those are both really good examples of shared services, things we're trying to do in collaboration with the town and SAPOA. John's going to talk about a couple of other projects that we're working on with them, one of which is the completed beach preservation, which is really important to all of us. So my goal in February of 2026 is to share this page with you and talk about how we've been able to accomplish what we set out to accomplish. John Schultz, here you go.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. Thanks for everybody for being here. And let me start with this. Oops, went the wrong way. Because I'm pushing the wrong button.
There we go. Oops, wrong way.
Nope, that's what I wanted.
Oh, okay.
Because the board's goals, if you say, what's John Schultz doing? What's the general manager doing? I'm doing this because staying in line with where the committees are going, what the board's doing, setting the roles and responsibilities, and getting everyone moving in the same direction from the leadership all the way down to the management and the staff is really critical to what we're doing. So I backed up here just to say this is part of what we're doing. And then I initially set out and I picked up this listen, learn, and lead from the USGA president from an event I attended. I added LAP because while listen, learn, and lead are obvious, there's been quite a few things that have landed in my lap that were not necessarily intended either by anybody in particular, but they just have to be dealt with. And so there's areas in which we deal with from time to time, and I'm just getting through the learn and a little bit into the lead. And I put up, I don't know if everyone's familiar with the Compensation Review Committee, but I thought these goals and objectives from the Compensation Review Committee were important to understand because these are what we've set out for our department heads and management this year. And we're using these tools and these areas of leadership, if you will, and whatnot, to follow up with management to make sure we follow through. Also, the management's going to be tied into the committee goals and objectives, which are down at the bottom, and the master plan. So everything's moving in the same direction, if you will. And I'm not going to go through the reasoning behind these, but I took them from the CRC because I really thought they were important, and I think they're spot on for what we as management need to be doing. So Lynn mentioned Java with the GM or Java with John, and this is a get to know me and get to know the membership. And I took copious notes, and we made Maria behind me, made this word art cloud. And Island, all the words that were in here were spoken out by the group. And I thought it was really interesting to see what was really encapsulating from the group. There were 16 members attending this as to what was important to them to identify Seabrook and how that came to light in the conversation that we had. And we took each of these things up and talked about them from their personal opinion. And there might have been one or two things that came up from questions or things that needed to be looked after and whatnot. But it was really a great conversation. We have some new employees. We're actually near full. There's a few opportunities here and there. I won't suggest we're 100%. Mel wouldn't let me do that. But I did want to introduce the new staff that's here. We had a few openings, and we've had a little bit of turnover, short amount of turnover in the time. And I wanted to make sure we introduced everyone today. Jared's with us on the diocese here. Director of Operations. Josh is Assistant Director of Operations. Thank you. Bo, you'll see upstairs in the restaurant, and Senior Food and Beverage Manager up there. Rusty on the far end. If you need anything fixed, Rusty's the man. And Alex is with us, and the Pickleball Pro. And he was already coaching me a little bit on return to serve and a few other things out there. So thank you all. Our other department heads are with us, and thank you all for being here today and also sticking through us with North Star and where we're going. We're going to get deep into North Star here in just a minute. We do have a big search underway, and we've engaged with the PGA ExecuSearch group. And they went out to the industry. There were 63 applicants for the job. Here's the timeline. All of this information was online or shared about the profile, what we're looking for. Let me go ahead and answer a question that generally comes up. I thought we were in one posting we had Director of Golf, and another one we said Head Golf Pro. I feel like they're synonymous. They mean the same thing. It's the head of golf. They're just different titles. One opportunity that comes with the title of Director of Golf is that you could have, since we have 2 golf courses, we can have 2 head pros that would then answer to the Director of Golf. And they get different points within their PGA credentials and their different classifications and things like that. And it could help with promotions and recognizing some of our stars that are in the pro shop. We are past the resume collection date. We've gone through, and there were 20 very good resumes that we thought were high quality that we wanted to talk to. Mel has gone through 18 of how many?
I've got 2 more left.
Okay, 18 of 20 with first interviews. That's this week. And then in-person interviews are the 9th through the 11th. And we put together a committee from the board, from the executive committee, and partially from the golf committee, Golf and Greens committee, to go through whether it's playing, lunch, I'm not sure if we're going to do the lesson thing or not. And then, of course, interviews and some get-to-know-you kind of things. We hope to have the new person onboarded by before Brian sneaks out. We've got August 4th is our date there. And so that's kind of where we stand on the timeline for the search and getting out there. I was very impressed with the quality of the applicants and the pros that were interested in the job and the reasons for their interest. So we're excited for what that can bring us. So I just want to have a save the date here for July 15th in order to honor Brian. Brian, 20 years with us, and we hope that, I hope, Brian, I hope to make sure you're not on vacation that week. He pulled his phone. I hope maybe that's an oversight, you know. Okay, all right. All right, now you can save the date. Thank you, right? So more on that as time will come. That'll be in the afternoon, probably on the 15th. I don't want to take credit for SAPOA's work while at the same time I'm posting these things, because we did help financially with these projects and things. But it also shows the cooperation and the engagement between SAPOA, the club, the town, and the utility department. They're playing nice, especially with me, because I'm new, and it might be like a cat with a mouse, just you know, while they got the new guy and they can you know, keep me going. But the seawall was certainly a big project right out in front of us. Pump station number 2, that's all I know about it. It pumps into some of our lakes and relieves some of the water, or the storm waters. You might have seen 4 weeks ago, the deep water well at the utility department went down. The picture in the center I took 2 days ago was the shaft coupler that was about 300 feet down that broke, and they had to go replace all of that. We're back on the deep water well currently, and then it started raining for 4 days, so that didn't necessarily help us, but it will in the future. And it goes in between the effluent water and the deep water well, and a lot of things that are going on out there. There's a lot of action out at that utility department, as a matter of fact. We're going to put on a new roof July 7th, and it ought to take a month. And at the same time, we're going to paint the exterior of the building. We're trying to figure out, does the roofer start on one end and the painter start on the other? I did show some empathy for the roofing crew and asked the roofers why you would have, you know, with July 7th, couldn't be any hotter outside. That would be really a terrible time to be on the roof. And the roofing company told me that the roofers will be on somebody's roof July 7th, and it might as well be ours for that period. We're changing a little bit of the color. This color scheme is going to go toward what's at the Rackets Center, so the paint scheme over there, and this roof that's on, I think, over on the Pelican's Nest. I point out the laundry building. We're into construction drawings. We decided to move the laundry building. You might have been hearing about the laundry building for a while now, but it got delayed a little bit longer. The civil's going to push it over into this new location from the lower left up into the maintenance yard area out there by the detention pond. And that's, we hope to be under construction by the end of the year. So the other piece that, and please don't pull this link up and open it now, because it's much too hilarious to play in this atmosphere, and you'll cackle and howl by shooting this video. But I've started a video tour of my orientation around the property. I started at the Equestrian Center, and you might be able to guess what that shovel is for and what that was about. And we did a short video on YouTube, and then also a longer one that's posted on the website. And so it's been enjoyable to get started. I didn't start with getting settled in. all the boxes in our main level of our house are either in the third floor or in the bottom floor. We haven't emptied them. We just moved them out of the way. But we're very settled in getting to enjoy the area and enjoying ourselves. So thank you for that, and I'll turn it over to John, sorry.
Thanks, John. You know, when we put the agenda together today, I was thinking a little bit about when we hired John. We said we'd like you to come in and run a $30 million business. We already have the business plan set for you. By the way, it's very aggressive. And then we're going to make you change your software platform right before the high season. And just to shake up your day, we're going to have the entire operation closed for about 10 days due to weather. But we still want you to hit your number. But well done. So what I want to do is spend a little time, very little, telling you about the financial results and a couple of milestones that we've accomplished since we last talked to you. And then we can get into North Star and the master plan. So first of all, on the right, hats off, pat these folks on the back. They volunteer their precious time on the committee, helping out John and Nicole with everything finance and accounting and audit related. And a couple of the milestones, we hired a new company. If you remember last year's audit, for those of you that recall, we were a little late. We asked for a delay. A lot of things were going on. Our bankers were okay with that, but kind of scratching their head. And this year, we hit the target. We came through with flying colors. If you have insomnia, the entire audited financial statements are on the member website. And a really big hats off to Nicole Watt. She spent days and days and days with this. And then Art was the head of the audit committee, and we couldn't be happier with how that turned out, especially with a new firm. The other milestone that we accomplished is renewal of our insurance. And hats off to Art Doherty and David Shields. Those two have forgotten more about insurance in the insurance industry than I'll ever know. And they, with some others, helped us through a renewal that's about the same cost as last year, but we have a lower deductible for named storms, and if you all check, there's supposed to be a high storm season coming up, as usual. And also $5 million more in, lower the voice, $5 million more in coverage, so we're in a very good position there. Going to the financials, a lot of numbers here. More insomnia, every financial statement and departmental breakdown is on the member website if you ever want to see it. And I'm very happy that I'm not giving this talk in March, because with those 10 days of shutdown, we were way behind in January and February. But thanks to John, Nicole, the department heads, getting in and focusing on the things they can control, they can't control Mother Nature, things really turned around nicely in March, and we had a phenomenal April. And that's got us back ahead of plan, as you can see, compared to budget. Revenues are higher, and you can see the 2024 results for the same time. And then if you look at our expense control, cost of goods sold, where it was down nicely. And so really a lot of look at inventory management, reallocation of payroll and resources where we needed to. We did have a lot of people come through the gate, which is tough to control, and you just hope for it. But you still have to be ready to manage that and do it cost effectively. And the team did. So overall, after other income and expenses, that's depreciation, taxes, interest, property taxes, we lost $714,000 against a projected loss of $863, and an improvement over last year at this time. And you can see where the capital reserves and joining fees are. I will say, we had some very positive headwinds from 2024 joining fees falling into 2025. So it looks a little nicer than the reality, and we're watching that very closely as we go forward. Bottom line is we have $8.5 million worth of cash compared to $7 million last year. And that's a good lead in to remind you that we have a very conservative policy that we've been following really since 2014. But these buckets are there, cash is in there to make sure that we are covering payroll, covering our debt service, covering the roof and paint job, and other things that we need to naturally fix. So we're in a very good, strong position there. And finally, on our obligations, this gives you an idea, right being the oldest year to left, we continue to be current on all obligations of reimbursement for equity and assessments. And so as members retire their membership for whatever reason, if they are due these assessment or equity reimbursements, we have the cash and we're staying current on that. Let's talk about the capital budget. When we went into the year, we showed you these projects, and this is kind of where we are today. The laundry facility is moving forward. It was delayed a little bit as we play around with the location, kind of related to the master plan. Permitting and all the rest of it, I wouldn't be surprised if some of that 1.2 slides into next year, hopefully not. You can kind of see the other projects. There was $1 million allocated for paint and new roof. It's going to come in lower than that. There's still the opportunity for surprises of rotten wood when they take the shingles off and the rest of it, but I do think those costs will come in lower. We are postponing the Learning Center. I was behind pushing for that last year. Trust me, it's still an integral part of the future of these facilities, but as you hear more from Tom Johnson on what we may be doing on the South Campus, we've decided to hold off on that to see what the sequencing should be. Do we do that first? Do we do it later? So that project is on hold right now. We're revisiting the security cameras. It seemed like a really good idea at the time, and we're really assessing whether that's needed. Overall, I wouldn't be surprised if we spend less than the $4.5 million we told you we had allocations for. But there's plenty of year left as well for projects to get started, but we're in a very good place. So in closing, we are back on track. There's plenty of year left. May is not looking as strong as April was, which was just phenomenal. But the entire team, led by John, is on a mission to hit the numbers, both cost management and revenue. We're on a good path to do that. We do have the water utility surprise that John mentioned. Those costs are actually coming in May and June. Probably $90,000 to $110,000 more than we would normally spend on water because of what we had to do to keep the golf courses green and the rest of it. It is what it is. It's one of those surprises, but that's there. Very strong cash and balance situation. On our cash, we're investing it in risk-free securities that are built, investment vehicles that are bearing interest, very liquid if we have to get our hands on it, but we are earning some money with that excess cash. And as far as the watch list, we are watching those joining fees. Real estate or upgrades are kind of playing into our capital in the future, and Mother Nature's on that list as well. But we just don't want to talk about that with any kind of surprises. I'll be happy to take questions at the end, or I'll be around afterwards or upstairs as well. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. JT team, thank you. So what we're doing today is just kind of talking and doing an introduction into North Star. We know this is a big change, and we thought this would be a great opportunity to really show the efforts and what we're putting forth as an operation to make this transition and upgrade as seamless as possible. So as we kind of go through the steps, I'll be talking a little bit in detail, and then hopefully this puts everyone at ease or a little more ease as we kind of transition through. So why North Star? Overall, for better membership management, there will be a lot that is hands-on availability and access. So that what that means is better viewing for billing statements, access, digital IDs, and just creating a little bit more of an efficient flow on property. We initially went with North Star. We obviously tried to fish it out to see who would be the best operation. North Star has been great. Their support has been great, and obviously you'll see they're in over 1,000 clubs around the U.S. So we're confident in the support that they'll be providing for us, and we're also confident in the support that we'll be providing to you. Back of the house operations is going to be great for North Star. Cleaner, more efficient, more up-to-date for accounting, AP, AR, reporting. With that also comes a little bit of availability for access to staff from an HR perspective. So again, really this is just trying to tie in all the operations and everything that happens on property, just to have it in a centralized, on your phone, efficient process. Front of the house is going to be fantastic upgrades. We'll be able to do everything through the phone. So that's making reservations, dinners, tea times, racquetball. It'll really be a user-friendly device, and we'll get a little bit more into it as we progress through the slideshow, but really just improving that efficiency as we work through the app. The other thing that I'm personally really excited about for the front of house feature is push notifications. So this will give us the capability to send out real-time messaging. And that'll be a feature that you will have the capability to turn on or off on your phone, but it'll give us the opportunity to really communicate in real time as to what we're doing on property, where we're doing it, and when we're doing it. So for me, I think this is a great feature. Looking very forward to seeing this live in action. For facilities and maintenance, this is going to be great for planning and work orders. It will give a certain level of real in-time issues that we may see. So this will give our team the ability that if we're walking around and we notice something, screenshot, upload, and our facilities team can really take on the project and keep track of what we're doing. Very excited about that feature as well. And then, of course, as we kind of progress through, there'll be a lot of social sides where you'll have a live feed where you'll be able to see things that are going on property as well. So a lot that North Star will offer. We're excited to see it live in action. How this impacts the business side is Lynn was mentioning earlier, any kind of potential issues. We had a closet in the back room with server that stores all of our secure information. North Star will be 100% cloud-based. So there will be no issues for anything going down, getting lost, flooded, whatever that may be. So we're excited to get ahead of it, and any potential storm issues are going to come after June 1st. We've been guaranteed. This also gives us the opportunity, we're implementing some things back of the house for KDS screens, which for those of you who don't know, we are digitizing how tickets are received in culinary. So this will eliminate the need for some paper goods and plastic. It'll all be digitized on screen. So some back of the house things, but I think good for the group to know that it's digitizing and bringing everything into a little bit more of a 21st century style operation. Obviously, the ease for the member and employee experience, this will all be one hub, one home to really see all the vital information that's going on property. And just a better opportunity to have real-time data and analytics. So again, North Star is going to be offering front of house, back of house, a whole bunch of amenities that we're very excited about. I kind of alluded to this earlier, but the digitization of the club, secure hosted solution server on premise, integrated reservations, invest in real-time and data analytics, as I already mentioned, and just an opportunity to become more efficient, move away from paperless, and become more interactive with the QR code and amenities that will be featured on the phone. For those of you, it seems like we did a little quick audit and a lot have downloaded the app already, so you would have seen this page, which we're, again, very excited about. It's great to see everyone kind of being proactive on this. But this is really what the access would be. So once you've downloaded the app, this is how the landing page would look like, the screen, the image on the left. In the middle, you would select member card. On the right, your member profile and QR code would pop up, and that's what we would use to gate entry, start a check in the restaurant, and that will really be probably the part of the app that you're using most frequently. Do we have volume?
There's no sound on the video.
Okay. So I'm very excited about this. This was my acting debut. We can watch it over and over. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. But so, thank you, Maria. So this is just really showing the technology and how simple and quick and easy it is and efficient. So this will essentially be the steps that we're taking to access all the points that you access now. Maybe one more time, just for fun, just for funsies, just one more time. Sure. The good old Shmee. Thank you. Thank you.
3 out of 3.
It worked 3 times. That's all right. We're good. That took us about 45 minutes of filming, by the way. So again, just in an effort to show, how much time and effort goes into a launch of something like North Star, we discuss it and we have the go live date, but then there's a lot that goes on in the back end. Getting all the teams involved, setting the dates, setting the training. So this is something the team we came up with. We would call this a critical path. So we have almost a process that we work backwards. We set a go live date, and then we set all the main features, the main dates, essentially the critical dates and times that certain information needs to be met, conversations need to be had. And again, I thought this was just a great exercise to show how in-depth and in tune this is. This is weeks and months in the making. Again, knowing that we go live June 1st, this started months ago in the beginning of April. And this really is just the checks and balances to make sure that everyone is being held accountable on our end so that we are diligent in making sure the process is, again, as seamless for you as the user and the member. This is phase 2. So June 1 was the go live date. And this is, again, just to show what happens for the next 10 days and moving forward. A lot of information here. It's to really show the next 10 days how involved and how in-depth we are in the operation. So what that means is our team in-house, and of course our North Star support that are here on property for the next 10 days, will be floating to all these areas to make sure everything is as seamless and efficient as possible. We foresee with the amount of practice and due diligence and time that we're trying to mitigate as many issues as we can. Obviously, we will probably run into a few hiccups come Sunday and Monday, but I think with enough time here, we have enough smart, passionate people that we will get ahead of any issues that come up. So I'm confident this is going to go as well as can be out of the 1,000 clubs that North Star has. I think we're going to operate pretty well. Tomorrow is we're doing our training for members that are maybe having issues, even though it's fantastic. A lot of you seem to have updated and maybe started navigating through the app already, which is fantastic. Thank you so much. Tomorrow and Sunday from 8:30 to 2 upstairs in the DeVoe room, we'll be doing a hands-on training as well. Our staff will be available. We'll have the team from North Star floating, just in case there's a few people that have issues and concerns. You'll also see sitting around property some collateral. So these QR codes are to scan and download the app. As you make your way around property, you'll see these A-frame boards that are up as well, that you can access the app and some help videos and some tutorials that we'll get to next. So this large item, again, this is what you'll see on property. This large scanner up here takes you to this page. And on that page is really anything that you can think of that is North Star related, download related, usage related. This app will take you to a landing site where basically is our FAQs, any questions that you may have. We did a little survey and kind of put together all the top 10 or 15 questions, put them on an FAQ. And then, of course, it's just how to access the amenity, how to actually make a tee time, how to make a reservation, how to check your member billing statement. So this will probably be very useful for everyone in the room over the next few days or weeks. But again, if you do not find the answers here, we will be all hands on deck for the next couple of days to make sure everything goes as seamless as possible. And I think that's it for me. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time. Thank you for being here.
So we're going to shift over to the master plan. I'm Tom Johnson. I've been on the long-range planning with the club last couple of years, just joined the board this year. I'm not going to show you a lot of the master plan because there's 3 sessions coming up, to really dig into the master plan. I'm going to show you more what's been happening and what's coming next. I'll give you a little bit of a preview since the boss wasn't paying attention. Wrong way. Big button. So the master plan came out of the strategic plan back in 2024, and we brought in an outside consultant, GGA. They consult country clubs and golf courses, and they dug into our financials. They did market research, looked at clubs like the Landings, and really told us what's going on in terms of when a member or property owner is looking to move and relocate to the low country, what do they look for in a club? We also did a survey, a 2023 survey, where we surveyed you, the members, to find out what you were looking for in terms of amenities and what you liked and didn't like. We did a financial analysis, bottoms up, sideways, a couple forecasts. So a lot of rich information from these consultants that really led us to say we need a plan. We need a master plan that looks out 10, 20 years as to where we're going to go with amenities and services and capabilities. Meanwhile, the POA was also coming off a strategy where they needed to look long-term for a plan, based on what they were looking at, Oyster Catcher, but also the lake house and then their landfall way building. To make it more complicated, we talked to the town, and the town said, we'd also like to have a master plan. Our building's not big enough. We need to expand. So a group of us worked together, Lynn, the mayor, and the president of SAPOA, Dave Brown, and we said, let's go together and create one master plan. So that's what we've been working on for almost a year. The philosophy was, let's not run with scissors, let's not make this a time-based plan, let's make it a plan that really thinks things through long-term, what really makes sense, and what's really possible. And it's becoming a roadmap for the future. Along the way, we decided we didn't have the expertise to do this ourselves. We interviewed 3 or 4 firms, and we selected KDC and Wood Partners. They're 2 different architects. KDC does buildings and facilities. Wood does land use and landscaping. And they ran a series of focus groups. How many people in here were part of a focus group for the master plan? A few. It was over 150 people, John, I think. So good representation. From those focus groups, what you're going to see in the open house are the concepts of what we're calling zones and concepts. And I'm going to show you a little of that today. But it's really what we're asking for next is for you to take some time and attend one of the open house sessions. There's going to be 3 sessions. They're June 11th and June 12th. June 11th, 4 to 5:30 at the Lake House in person. So imagine the 7 zones, I'll show you in a minute, up as boards, big visual display boards with people supporting each one of those, and you can walk around to each one of those zones, ask questions, kind of hear the story, ask questions, provide your feedback. For those of you that can't make it in person, on the 11th from 7 to 8 p.m., we're going to do a Zoom session. It won't be quite as rich, but we'll be able to present largely most of it to you, and you'll be able to also submit questions. They won't necessarily be live just because we're trying to do a lot in a little bit of time, but we thought it was a good option to use the technology to let people that aren't on the island or busy to participate. And then session 3 is the 12th here at the Island House. Each session, again, a presentation of the concepts by the architects. So they're going to talk you through each one of the concepts in each one of the zones. You'll actually get to see depictions of what the changes are going to be to the Island House or the Oyster Catcher or anywhere else. We've asked the ambassadors, who are, again, volunteers, to join the sessions. Any ambassadors in here? I saw Fred. Couple. My wife. She does kids, grandkids is her specialty. And again, provide feedback. So I'll show you the QR code in a minute. The registrations look pretty strong as of this morning, more at the Lake House than the Island House, but we'll continue to look for people to join us. I want to say thanks to all the people that support us. Volunteers, Tom Bluth, Jimmy Addison, myself. I put myself in there. That was from my wife. Cindy O'Neill, Marianne Connolly, and Will Sneeden from SAPOA, and Raymond Hamilton from the town. We've been meeting twice a week, so it's been a lot of work, and we hope you see the benefits when you attend the open house. So just a little bit of a preview. So how many of you have seen the zones before? Maybe a third. I'll go through them quick. South Campus is where we're at, and that's pretty much club-oriented. Going down to the bottom, Nature's Gateway is really Boardwalk 1, Boardwalk 2, Oyster Catcher. The Gardens is really the Gardens plus the maintenance center and the utility. The Equestrian Center, you know, the Lake House, you know, the Racket Complex, you know, and then North Campus is kind of the real estate office and up along Landfall Way. I'm not going to spend any time on most of these, but I will give you a little bit of a glimpse into what we're thinking on the South Campus. That's kind of the high-level style of drawing you'll see at the open house. They change frequently, so that's not anything you want to print or plan for. But it kind of shows the island house at the bottom, and that's how they show us some of the concepts. Some of the concepts we're talking about is a refresh of the banquet space. You're in this banquet space. Just bring it up to kind of the modern and more low country feel. When we toured Landings, you could kind of see a different kind of coastal feel to it. John Schultz and Matt and others have a vision for redoing the beach club entrance to make it just more relaxed, more comfortable, a little less gate and fence oriented. The other thing we're thinking about is the concept is taking the two shops over there and making it one big shop. Maybe a little more grab and go, a little more food and beverage opportunity, as well as just making a more flexible space. Right now it's two spaces, it'd be one big space. Probably wouldn't move the exterior walls, but some ideas there. Some of the bigger things is redoing the second floor. These are out of order, but we'd go up to the second floor and open that up and just make it much more of a casual dining space, more flexible for gatherings, family events. Right now it's kind of a bar and a restaurant with a lot of kind of serving stations in the middle. When you go see the Landings or other locations, they're much more open, much more flexible, but same exterior walls. A new golf shop. Why do we need a new golf shop? Because we want to put a sports bar where the pro shop is. So the concept is a first floor restaurant that Jared and Bo can run. So golf, that whole deck and the golfers just flow into that space. It's more casual, more sports oriented. So then we'd have to pick up and move the golf shop, and the vision is to put the golf shop off the locker rooms. And again, you'll see all this drawn out, not by me. The Player Development Center is still on our concept list. A lot of decisions need to be made, but when we were talking to Christine's group, we presented this to the Golf and Grounds Committee. You start to think this through, how all these pieces need to work together. How much downtime does it take to bring any of these concepts to life? So there's a lot to think through. So again, we're not running with this. We're just starting to lay out the concepts. They're starting to make sense. We're starting to present them to the committees, and now we're going to present them to the community. The last thing would be updating the short game and the putting areas, just making that whole back area and actually your entrance into the golf course, out of the golf course, just much more smoother, much more relaxing, much more inviting, and better use of the space. So I don't have any more than that today. What I will tell you is the next steps are we want to complete the master plan and get it working. So we have, we're asking for the open house input, 11th and 12th. We'll revise these concepts in phases based on your input, and then we'll kind of stamp that plan as the final plan for 2025. We want it to live and breathe, but we want to go ahead and put it to a bookmark and then move on. What we'll start to do is start to offer the community some phases. We're calling it phase 0, which is, maintenance projects like painting this building, but it could be other amenities, none of which I'm allowed to name until you tell us. But and then what we do is some concept design and estimation. So we'll actually have the architects go down another level and put some math to everything. Make sense? So I like it because it's structured. I like it because it's got a cadence to it, and again, it's been pretty thoughtful. We're not just throwing things up. So my QR code with the dinosaur. If you get a chance, you can go on the website or you can take a picture of that, and that'll take you to register for the open house, either the 11th or the 12th. I hope you have the time. If you don't, certainly reach out to me or anyone on the board, and we can talk about, we can spend some more time on the master plan. So we're excited. Again, we're being patient. We really, really want your input. We appreciate all your extra time.
My name is Robert Cherry. My wife and I joined the club in 2003 when it was going under. It was it was falling apart. We've been through Island One, the Horizon Plan, and we are now full-time residents here. We both play golf and tennis. We are full CART members, and Tom has to put up with listening to me ask him questions all the time now that he's on the board. So
Hey, you got a minute?
I started this, and I said, okay, give me this opportunity. I'm president of a regime, Racquet Club Villas. I was president of Courtside Villas also for about 17 years. And what I'm worried about and asking the board about is these types of properties being priced out of the club. Right now, my wife and I pay $1,520 a month in dues. Fortunately for me, I have a 80th birthday in September.
Congratulations.
And I become emeritus because we will have been members for 22 years. So I get to burn through some of my equity and a little bit of the interest payment that I've paid because of the Horizon Plan. But looking back, I did kind of a deep dive and looked back at dues and whatever. In 2018, we only went up 22 a month. In 19, we went up 44. In 2021, we didn't go up at all. And then we only went up $40 a month. In the last 3 years, my dues have gone up $400 a month, 25%, $4,700. And I'm wondering, can we really sustain and keep this? Right now, again, I did sort of a deep dive. My wife and I pay $10,000 more than a racket sports member. So if we both play golf, we play 100 to 110, we're paying $80 to $100 every time we play golf. And I asked Tom this today, and I said, I'll ask it tonight. You did realize that when you did that, a racket sports member can buy rounds of golf and buy up to 68 rounds of golf without paying as much as I do to play golf. So if you're not going to play more than 50 to 60 rounds of golf, why would you pay $75,000 initiation fee and the extra $10,000 a year to do that? Couldn't understand the reasoning, whether you really did. So I guess two questions. Are we going to keep sustaining this at 8 to 10% a year increase in dues? And the other question is the sort of issue between racket sports and full-time members.
Yeah, I guess the short answer is I don't know. Wouldn't it be lovely if we didn't increase dues at all? I think everybody would be in favor of that.
Oh, right.
Now, I didn't say that we could, but I mean,
Right.
it would be really great if we could. I think every year we look at the budget and what things cost. We are a non-for-profit. We're not here to make money, and you understand this, dues make up the difference between kind of what revenue we generate at the amenities and to include food and beverage, and what it costs to run this place.
Right. Well, I was kind of shocked, not to interrupt you, but
Yeah, no, sure.
when I did a dive into the financials, I didn't realize out of our $31 million budget, $19 million was payroll. And I'm going, have we ever hired a consultant to take a look at our employee structure? Is there any way we can cut costs that way? I called Elon today, and he's not busy because...
Yeah, he's not in Doge anymore, so he's got plenty of time.
No, I did not. I wasn't in favor of that.
So I would also say, one thing. In 2024, and Christine was head of membership and Lindsay was director of membership.
Right.
There was a change in the choices that you had. And I was really impressed by the small group sessions that Lindsay had and her team, just trying to help members figure out what is the best level of what membership works best for you. I can't tell you, is a racket sports membership better for not just you or anybody else?
Well, until I started looking at it, I've been here for 22 years, so my wife and I were full non-residents, which means we could play 6 months a year. We could play all the tennis and golf we wanted. Then they brought the sport around, and they figured out that they'd sort of shot themselves in the foot because you had 50 rounds of golf that anybody could use.
Sure.
And so they did away with that in a hurry. By the time I became a full member, I had to be a regular full member, and then they brought in the cart. And to break even with cart, it's about 110, 120 rounds paying for the cart.
So
So that's the reason I use that figure.
Lindsay, how many different memberships do we currently have active?
Yeah, she knows.
48
Yeah,
different
yeah.
levels of
See,
membership. If
In
anybody's
22 years,
belonged
I've
to
been
any
through-
other club.
I've been through about 20 of those, I guess.
And all created for, at the
Right,
time, good
right.
reason. It's a lot, it's a lot.
It's difficult to figure out and to try and put people into 3 different categories.
Totally agree.
And the reason I was kind of shocked was that somebody who's now a new racket sports member can play 68 and a half rounds for $10,000 is what I pay without paying for that, because they have to pay $110 plus $36 for the cart when you pay
Yep.
tax in it. So that's $146. If you divide that into 10,000, you get 68 rounds of golf.
I'm
So
really
they go-
bad at
so
math,
if
but
they can play 50 and still save themselves 1,000 or 2.
so the
So
only thing,
it's
the only,
kind of strange, it was just kind of strange when I looked
Yep.
at it that way. I went, oh, and then what's it really costing my wife and me? And then I divided our rounds of golf into the 10,000, and it's anywhere, if we play 100 to 120, it's costing us $80 to $100 for every round of golf.
I'm hoping that
So-
all members go through the exercise of going, which is best for me.
Right.
I don't know how to answer your
There
question.
is- I guess there's
Yep.
not. I'm just asking if everybody's aware. And I asked a couple of members, I said, do you know what our payroll is? And they said, no. And I told 4 guys that after I played tennis this morning, I said, it's $19 million. And they went,
So
yeah.
here's what I would say about anything, employees, the cost of employees.
Right.
It's that balance. If we have enough employees that give us the experience that we're looking for, that is the right number. If we have more employees and we're not getting the experience,
Right.
or they're not the right employees, I totally agree with you. But
Here's the most important question for the day, the
Okay.
whole day. I play tennis and I play golf, and I hear this, and I don't even go that often, except I'm going tonight. Have we put the happy hour back to an hour and a half? And can we bring back Wednesday night happy hour? You can't be saving that much money. You can't be saving that much money.
I knew I'd get applause on that one, for sure.
You can't be.
So let me, thank you, Robert, I
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks.
that. So let me just, the Vintage Club and Happy Hour, when John Schultz came to this club, we said, we need you to take a look at everything. And if financially it doesn't make sense to do certain things, you have the ability to say, we're eliminating this, we're adding that. Well, Happy Hour is like a big member experience thing, right? And so we operate that at a loss. We do. For every drink that is purchased during happy hour, it's a loss. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. Now, members love it, but it's at a loss. But we've asked him to take a look at analyzing stuff like Happy Hour and the Vintage Club. And financially, if you're running an operation like that at a loss, you should shorten the time or eliminate the days that it's offered. So I will, as a board member, I will take the criticism for asking John to do something like maybe that was out of scope without considering members' feelings about those 2 items. And so I'm going to take part of the blame for that. We're going to take a look at, I can't say that we're going to bring back Wednesday happy hour. I can't tell you that we're going to bring back happy hour on Friday for an hour and a half. But we are taking a look at, we're learning about what members really care about and what we keep in the programs and what we take out.
I'm concerned about the golf courses. We have a Robert Trent Jones course and a Pete Willard Bird course, and I've been on a lot of great golf courses, but the first spot you go on a golf course is the tee. Our tees are atrocious. All the other good golf courses I've been on, and I was just on several in Arizona. I know I brought this up, and she's.
Christine?
I have not read your minutes, but I'm saying, the last thing she said to me was, find the money for me. I just found it. There's $450,000 we're not going to use to build the building, the
PDC?
The
PDC?
Right.
Player Development?
Because first of all, that building, we never saw a design of what it looked like. We never knew where it was going to be. If you went to ARC to get a building permit, they never would have given it to you. So think about using the $450,000 to improve the quality of our golf courses, which are now good, but should be spectacular for being here.
Thank you, Ed. Other questions? I think we have cocktails right out there. No, I didn't.
Did you say it out loud?
No.
I think they want to hear.
Oh, it's after 5 o'clock. So we do, John Schultz had a great idea. We have beer and wine for free right outside this door before you go up to, good idea, I knew, John, you'd like that. Sue?
So my question is short, but I do want to applaud the presentation because it's very clear to all of us that a lot of work and effort and genuine interest is put into all of the work that you've done. My question is, because it kind of reminds me of a candy shop, you know, it's like, I want some of this and I want some of that. At what point, I have two questions. At what point will the membership have the opportunity to vote on the master plan? And the second is, at what point, when the rest of the details that you're talking about, where you've identified the steps that you want to see move forward, at what time will a price tag be placed on those, not only for the development capital expenditures, but the ongoing additional maintenance costs that will be entailed in every one of those projects? And I'm hoping that the answer is yes, there will be a vote, and that information will be provided in advance of the vote that talks not only conceptually about the project, but also provides those financial details, even if it's just a ballpark estimate of capital expenditures and a ballpark estimate of annual every 12-month additional cost to maintain them.
Okay. Mr. Treasurer or Tom Johnson, you want to take that one?
Yeah, no, so
You want to, can you hear him?
Yes.
So the next step is to put those concepts together with the estimates. So anything that we move to a concept design phase will have an estimate. And the amount of those estimates may or may not drive a vote. The votes are based on the bylaws and how much we have to spend. Most of the projects in the initial phase 0 and phase 1 are fairly small in nature. The phase 1 gets larger, when you'll see in the open house, but none of those, the only new building would be the new pro shop concept. So we're not necessarily, building new buildings. Everything's really renovation. If we build that, right. And those have to go through beyond concept, design, and estimates. So the next steps, you'll get a concept with math behind it from the architects, and then an estimate from a third-party contractor. I think, John, we're looking at a couple contractors. And that's when we'll stop and say, this is what we're proposing to build. Here's how much it's going to cost, as well as here's the approval processes from the town or the county. Maybe even the state. Most of the state restrictions, we've stayed away from anything along the coastal resource line.
This question comes from my own ignorance. I should know this perhaps. But the bylaws do provide for a specific dollar amount. And our plan is a short-term, middle, and long-term, right?
Right.
That'll extend over multiple years and have a beginning point, phase 1, as well as a final cost. My question is, when you calculate whether the master plan has reached the threshold that requires a vote, how do you calculate that? Do you look at based on the entire master plan over a 4 or 5 year period?
Right now we haven't. Right now we've been doing it in the phases, and we've started with phase 0 and 1. We haven't asked for a directional cost or designs for all the phases. All the zones and all the concepts, which are then put into phases. So right now we don't have an overall number for every building or every concept in the zones. Some of those aren't ours, some of those are SAPOA, some are the town, some of the utility.
I'll add one example that may not be a fair comparison, but you've heard me talk about the Golf Master Plan. It's still on the website. In November, it celebrates 10 years. So 10 years ago, 11, the whole redesign of the course and where we might move bunkers, if we're ever going to do anything, this is the roadmap for the golf course. As we decided as a club to go after some of these changes, not all of them were done, where there was a dollar threshold that required an input and voting from the club and its members, that was done. If not, the costs were incurred as the club decided to enact a master plan. 10 years into it, there are still elements of that master plan that haven't been done. But we know if we ever want to do more, move a bunker, do this, we can go to that master plan and go after it. It's the same thing for the island. So maybe another unfair analogy, but let's say an heir we didn't even know, Elon, somebody mentioned, has given us all the cash we need to do this for free. It's not happening, but let's pretend for this a second. Are the items that are in that master plan that you wouldn't have to pay for still the ones you'd want? I mean, if there are things in the master plan that make no sense to you, whether you have to pay for them or not, we want to hear that in June. And so the roadmap is what we want everyone to agree to or weigh in on so that we can set it. How those elements are enacted, when they're enacted, what financial dials are turned to pay for them will be within the bylaws and within what you'd expect as members to have a vote on.
Yeah, so I think what we're asking for on the open house is to get your feedback on what, and then we'll start structuring when. In those projects that we see happening in the next 12 to 24 months, we'll go ahead and authorize the architects to come in and do the designs and the costs for. And then those will be pushed back out and shared with the membership property owners. Right now, we haven't forecasted. There's so many unknowns when you see the level of the master plan and the open house. They're sketches. And there's so many unknowns for us to put a number to or ask the architects. We really have to ask the architects to do that. And we then need to bring in construction estimators. So we're working through that. We're just doing it in phases. And that's why first the what, kind of the when, and then we'll get the numbers and present the numbers back.
And Sue, I think a really good observation to also factor in, you've built it, what's it going to cost us for payroll, for maintenance, appreciation.
What you talked about makes a great deal of sense if it's in fact truly in segments, but if you have a project that once you get committed to phase one, you need to move forward, so that people want to hear what the totality of the cost is, I think, am I right?
Well-
Yeah, but we're just saying, first, see the totality of the concepts in the plan. And it's right around the corner, it's the 11th and 12th. So we want your feedback, and again, not shying away from the feedback, but we're asking just see the vision. And it is a long-term vision. A lot of these things are years away, maybe even a decade away. Just the approval processes.
When you do that, please make every effort to give a realistic amount of estimated initial capital costs and ongoing, because I'd love a training center, but I don't know how much I'd actually use it.
The other thing,
The idea is wonderful, but would I use it? Would a lot of people sitting in this room use it?
I love putting money into the new pools across the street. I have never put a toe in any of those pools, never will, but I like that.
Thanks.
thank
I
you.
just have one comment, no question. I just want to
Wait,
say,
what are your
everybody
shoes, what are your
probably in
shoes,
this
what
room
shoes
that
do you have
plays
on?
golf.
What shoes do you have on today?
Just these.
They're looking good.
Nothing's right. My name's Rod Rickable. I just want to make one comment. It's hard to say a little bit, but I just want to say that our restrooms on the golf course are disgusting shape. The filters and the air handlers at the top are covered in mold. The floors are covered in mold. There's cockroaches on the floor. There's nothing clean about the restrooms. The toilet seats are even brown in every one that's on the golf course. And I think it's about time, because it's an embarrassment to me to bring anybody here to play, to have to use those restrooms. And I think it's going on long enough. It's been going on for years. So I think we need to do something about it at some point in time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rusty's taking notes over there. Anything else?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been holding off on this. Next door is not a great thing, but it does give you a feel for what's going on. And I haven't heard any more uproar with the issue of the Pelican's Nest and when we can go and when we can't go as owners and members. And the last time that happened was for the Renew 50 program. So I think there's something there that I'd like to see it changed. I mean, we really, I think a lot of people do enjoy the Pelican's Nest. And during the summer, you can't get in.
John, are you talking about like what nights are member nights? And
Right.
call ahead seating? So we do have call ahead seating for every member, 7 days a week.
Yes.
Do call ahead seating. And Saturday nights are members. Yeah, no, ma'am. All in. And Saturday nights are members' night only for reservations. It was the same way last year. We did Saturday nights only last year.
So we did Tuesdays and
Tuesday and
Thursdays.
Thursdays were in 2023.
And if I can just add, June 14th, we start members' nights back on Saturdays.
June 14th, I apologize.
Is that incorrect?
You can do call ahead 7 days a week as a member, right? Okay. All right, I don't need a motion to adjourn, but how do you all feel about adjourning? All right, thank you very much for coming out this afternoon.